Welcome back to Are You High Right Now? DJ, are you high right now?
I am.
What'd you smoke today?
I smoked a Roast Mellow 510 cart on my little battery. Yeah, it's pretty tasty. Pretty good. I'm pretty high right now.
Okay, and who did you smoke with today?
I smoked with my friend Harold. Hello, Harold. How are you?
We
Hi,
have
everybody.
Harold on the podcast today, our first guest ever. Harold, thanks for coming.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
This is kind of weird having a guest.
It is a little
Makes
weird.
me kind of
I
nervous.
like it.
I like it too. It's another voice that we get to hear.
All right, so today we're talking all about conspiracy theories. We thought we'd bring Harold along because do you know a lot about conspiracy theories, or do you just like them, or what's your take?
I know quite a bit about some, and I do like them, but I always just find them interesting.
Yeah, me too.
People's views on them.
You're not a flat earther, are you?
No, I believe we're a marble, but I don't know. I've never been to fucking space.
I know,
That's
I'm kind
fair.
of
That's
curious
fair.
on some of these that I researched what
Is
your
there any,
guys'
is there any
takes are
flat
gonna be.
earthers on there?
No, I didn't get any flat
Really?
earthers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I worked with a couple guys on the fire crew that thought the earth was flat.
Really?
Yeah, that was... we had some very interesting conversations, let's see, to say the least.
I've known a few people to think it's a bowl.
A
A bowl?
Yeah,
that
it's
is
not
even
like
harder to
flat.
believe.
It's like a bowl.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Just like a mountain range on the outside so you can't fall off the edge.
I think that's Antarctica.
It's
That's
just
what
the
they
end of
go
the
by.
world.
That's what they say.
Oh, then you go
So
upside down?
I
So is it like a deflated
see,
basketball?
but I don't know. Back in the
know.
day, that was a story too.
Okay, so I got a few like listener conspiracy theories to talk about. And they were pretty good. Then I took the liberty of finding some of my own conspiracy theories that I wanted to research.
Deep dive on Reddit?
Yes. So I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about like the government, pharmaceutical companies, all that. I did not go into those because I feel like those can get kind of heavy, maybe a little too political. So we're going like the more fun route, I feel like.
Another thing, so can we explain why we're wearing tinfoil hats?
Well, yeah, because we're talking about conspiracy theories. And Harold made us.
It's the tinfoil hat society. That's what we're doing, guys.
There we go.
Keeps the
And-
government raised out.
They can't hear my thoughts.
Well, and I'm really hoping we're trying to record again, take 8 to see if we can get this on YouTube. So hopefully you can see us with our hats.
This will be the one that works for sure.
We're just
I guarantee
invisible
it.
with them.
Invisible?
Yeah.
Invisible? Oh, okay.
If you can see us vote, whose is the best? DJ's was the most questionable at first, and I do think his turned out probably the best.
We did dog on you pretty hard while you were making
I know. You guys are talking mad shit. Like, what are you doing?
And then I
Is that
thought
a fucking
Harold's was going to
yarmulke?
be flawless, and his looks like a wig.
Love it.
Like a George Washington wig.
It's like they should be pigtails. You got the Hershey's Kiss Award, though, for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if I got the right look. Alrighty, so let's start. So I did a deep dive on probably like 6 different conspiracy theories. And what I thought I would do is kind of go into them on like basically what the theory is and why people are like for it, sometimes why they're against it.
Okay.
And then we can kind of talk about like if you've ever heard of them, what you think of them, that whole thing. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Oh,
Okay, so the very first one, Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by Melissa Vandella. Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I don't know who the hell Melissa Vandella is.
Have you
Neither-
ever heard of it?
I've heard of that, and I've also heard it happening to Paul McCartney.
Me too. I hadn't until I was researching it last night.
Paul
but the same
McCartney,
thing happened
what?
to Paul
the singer
McCartney.
from the Beatles.
Yeah. So they just like, did he die from like a drug overdose and then they replaced him real quick, or did they kill him?
They said that he didn't die, but that he just didn't want to do it anymore, and his like twin took over.
Did he have a twin?
They believe.
That's the conspiracy.
That's a
behind it.
conspiracy, but we're gonna get right into it.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, basically the theory is that Avril Lavigne committed suicide in 2003, and to keep her music career going, she was just replaced by someone that looks like her. So the people who, there's like a full documentary about this, by the way, but the people who believe this is true, these are their kind of like claims. The old Avril is shorter, brunette, dark eyes, deeper voice, tomboy, punk, loves writing music, but apparently is not a great vocalist, which I don't fully agree with, but whatever. The new Avril, taller, blonde, blue eyes, higher voice, girly, more pop than punk, a better singer. They have different ears, different moles, different teeth, and different handwriting. The evidence against it, not really evidence, but people say they look similar enough that it could just be normal aging. She also dated a guy in 2001 that she married in 2006, but the theory says she died in 2003. So would the guy marry the new Avril? We don't know. And then the last one is she's been seen in the same hometown with the original Avril's parents. So those are the two sides. And then when I was researching this, there was a poster on Reddit who found a video of Avril Lavigne singing in a bookstore when she was 16. When she was singing in the bookstore, she had blonde hair, blue eyes, and basically looked like the newer Avril. So her new conclusion was basically that she had a twin. She died in 2003, and the twin took over. And that would explain why she still hangs around the same parents, in the same hometown, all of that. What do you think?
Phase. Blonde hair, blue eyes, went goth, got brown contacts, dressed in all black. After she got popular, she got some vocal lessons, got better at singing. Maybe she got her knees done. I don't know.
My thing is people grow.
That's
You know,
They
as we
do
get
grow.
older, we do get, we change.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
Who would benefit from her, though?
her parents?
Her parents still? Is
Well,
that the-
yeah, and another theory was like the record labels wanted the twin sisters, like she was more willing to go with whatever they wanted. She was more like girly, was willing to do stuff that the real Avril apparently wasn't, because she was too like
So did they kill her
punk.
off?
I don't know. Another point to it. I don't
Does she have a twin sister?
No.
What if it's more
We
like a
don't know.
doppelganger?
That's it.
And they could
That's
easily
not.
find-
That's
I mean-
the addition, like the main theory.
I feel like that would be a lot easier to
she's
find
a
a
doppelganger.
doppelganger. I
Yeah.
mean, you dress some girl in black eyeliner and black eyeshadow and
Do you want to be the next Avril Lavigne?
skater boy.
Yeah.
She said, "See you later, boy."
I don't. I don't believe this one, but I hear this theory all the time that it makes me think like, why are there not theories like this about other famous people?
There
so
is
it
like
makes
Kurt
me
Cobain.
feel.
Kurt Cobain. That was a theory that somebody killed him. That it wasn't just an overdose.
Well, that goes into like the weird numbers. Didn't they all die at 27? They all
Yeah,
had white lighters in
Jimi
their
Hendrix,
pockets. They all-
Tupac. There's a bunch of artists that are all in the 27 Club
What's
essentially.
the one
Well-
the one lady too?
Oh, Amy Winehouse.
Not Amy Winehouse, but there's another one that's older. One pill makes you stronger. Well, one pill.
Oh, I
that
don't
one.
know.
I don't
who that
know.
is.
What's her name?
That sounds like country to me.
No, I know that song. I just don't know who it is.
Yeah, same thing with her. Same
Okay,
age,
but
everything.
it's not a theory that someone took her place or took their place.
Well,
That's
Paul
like a
McCartney.
whole Paul McCartney.
You know,
Yeah,
and I
that's the
could
only
see-
other one I've heard of.
I
I can't
see
even
that.
picture what Paul McCartney looks like.
I picture Jesse McCartney when I think of Paul McCartney.
Wasn't he like a boy singer?
Yeah,
back in the-
teenage heartthrob.
Was he?
Yeah.
And then who? Okay, so then who's this guy? Who's Paul McCartney?
He's from the Beatles?
He is from the Beatles.
Okay,
He's the lead
okay.
singer of the Beatles.
Yeah.
What's
Did
he
you
said?
not know that?
No, I didn't know that. I don't listen to the Beatles. I listen
There's
to
so
the Beatles.
many with the Beatles though. Like,
Should we move on to the next one?
Sure.
Okay. So this is all about the Denver airport. Have you heard theories about the Denver airport?
I have.
Yes, I've heard a lot
That
of weird
one's-
stuff about that.
This one's weird.
This one is weird. And so I actually found there was about 5 different conspiracy theories about the Denver airport. None of them have like a ton of evidence. So we're just going to kind of rapid fire each one of them. And they kind of end up tying into each other. So the first one is that it was built by the New World Order with ties to Nazism. They say that the runways are built to look like a swastika from above. There's a dedication marker for the airport credits. Oh, sorry. There's a dedication marker for the airport that credits an organization called the New World Airport Commission. That organization doesn't exist. So that's kind of the first theory. It's like Nazi based. Okay.
Okay.
Should I go to the next one, or do we want to talk about each one individually? Because they're all pretty short.
I mean, I think they're all probably going to blend together.
Yeah. The giant blue horse sculpture is a nod to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So locally, that horse is called Blucifer. It has glowing red eyes. The sculptor died 2 years before the piece was completed when a piece of the statue fell on him and severed an artery in his leg. So there's not much to that, but it's just kind of creepy. Next one, it contains
Sacrifice.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It contains Illuminati headquarters. There's a time capsule buried on the property that has symbols from the Freemasons, which are linked to the Illuminati. There's many unmarked buildings and underground areas on the property. The airport was much more expensive than originally projected and took longer to build. And rumors say that the first few buildings weren't built properly, and instead of demolishing them, the airport buried them and built new buildings on top of it, giving the Illuminati like its own place underground. So that's the third one. Next one kind of is really similar to that. Underground tunnels have bunkers, possibly built by lizard people or aliens, that will serve as a safe space for the world's elite during the apocalypse. Other theories say tunnels lead directly to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, located 90 miles south in Colorado Springs. And the very last one is the artwork provides clues about the end of the world. So a lot of these are apocalypse based. Some believe that they have Nazi imagery as proof that it's linked to the fascist secret society. And this is very just random, but there's random gargoyle statues. It doesn't really link to anything, but
Oh,
it's
that's
creepy.
my favorite one.
So, I've heard like, kind of adds on to like I've heard it was built for like as a prison. Like as like almost like
okay.
a concentration camp, or not heard. Nobody told me this. I read this, but so if you notice like the barbed wire fence, it's all pointing inward instead of outward. So when barbed wire fence is pointed outward, it's to keep people out. When barbed wire fence is pointed inward, it's to keep people in.
Oh, I didn't read up on that at all.
And then there's also a lot of the tunnels, I want to say were like
Gas chambers.
relatively similar to the gas chambers that they
Okay.
used, or in size and like dimension and like build to the ones that were in like Auschwitz and some of those main concentration camps back in Germany.
Well, to get
not Germany, but
a little bit further deeper into that, I've heard that like they're gonna fake something, and basically, I don't want to talk about the government or anything like that, but they're gonna fake a scenario where we're gonna be like, oh, an asteroid or this or that, and they're gonna have people just go into there like, hey, it's safety, and then they gas them.
Wow. Okay. I haven't heard about
And this is
any
all
of
just
those.
hypothetical
Yeah.
of what we read from Reddit and heard from Unsolved Mysteries.
I think people, well, me, for example, I just love I love a mystery story like that. I don't want it to be like a bad place, obviously.
have you guys-
But it's more fun. If
have you guys
hear
like
it.
actually been in the Denver airport and like looked at the shit that they're talking about?
Oh, the murals?
Yeah.
The murals are
The
creepy.
murals are
Yeah.
weird as fuck, and there's a lot of, not just in the credit place, but there is a lot of Freemason. If you you'll see it everywhere. Now that whoever's listening to this and you walk through the Denver airport, just look around and it's everywhere.
But so then the airport also like has stuff on its website, basically like making fun of the people who believe it's a conspiracy, though. So it's almost like they play into it.
Well, I mean, if it was true, what's the easiest way to fight it?
Make it
Oh,
a
you
joke.
guys are idiots.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. Yes,
Yeah,
we're
not deny it.
Illuminati.
That's true.
I mean,
I
that's the
also
easiest way.
Heard it was like built in the shape of swastikas also. So
That's
like if
wild.
So there's definitely Nazi apocalypse, all that, definitely. That's
getting a little-
that's like the main part of the theory then. Okay. Anything else on that one?
No, that's wild. I am gonna look at that blue horse that killed somebody. That's wild.
well, the blue horse was a new one. I've never heard
Lucifer?
of that. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, that's just weird because you see it
Why the
pulling
hell
up.
would you keep that statue in there? I would have got rid of it.
No, it's not in it. It's out front. It's the giant blue horse as you're driving to the airport.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought
Seen that, I know.
Like that's what's creepy is it's blue with red glowing eyes.
I'm Lucifer, baby.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
I like the name.
I do
It's
like
like
the
sounds
name.
like a grandpa
I just
telling a
can't
scary
believe
story.
it killed his skull. It killed its owner. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just like a bad omen kind of.
I would have probably cut that thing down.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
kept it.
I would have blew it up.
Okay. The next one is called the Missing 411. Have you heard of this one?
Is this like
Weather report.
I think aliens.
Okay, kind of. So basically, there's a theory that there's a huge number of people, like in the thousands, that have gone missing in U.S. national parks and other wilderness areas under unusual and mysterious circumstances. So not everyone that's gone missing in a national park is part of the Missing 411. They have to fall under like a very unusual circumstance in a certain location. So there's quite a bit to this one. So
This one's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's kinda scary.
So basically, people go missing in not just in these national parks, but in specific clusters. So there's 28 different clusters across the continent. Clusters of people going missing as far back as the 1800s. So these very specific areas where people just vanish.
Is there anything close to us?
I didn't see anything about like Badlands.
I think
or
it's
anything
Yellowstone,
like
right? It's in Yellowstone.
There's
National
probably
Park.
some in Yellowstone. It's like Smoky Mountains has a lot.
Is it Smoky Bear?
No. It's
Smoky Bear.
I'm pretty sure that's a national forest.
No, it's just called the Smoky
Mountains.
Mountains.
Oh, okay.
Smoky Bear.
There's a Smoky. No, I know there's Smoky the Bear, but there's Smoky Bear National Forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's bears. That's why they're disappearing.
So most of these people, they seemingly, okay, by the way, can I just say one thing? Okay, if I said they evaporate into thin air,
They evaporate?
I just realized that's not a word.
No, it's evaporate.
Evaporate.
I know.
Well,
I
even
know.
even that's
That doesn't
not
sound right in the
correct.
context of that.
So no, it would be
They
combust.
vanish. No, combust, you
It would
blew
blow
up.
up. You
Basically, they vanish.
I don't know. You can evaporated.
I mean, we are
Evaporated.
70% water.
No, I know, but I literally typed in they evaporate and it's like not a word. I'm like, wait a minute.
They vaporate.
Why did I always think that was a word?
Vaporize.
So, anyways, so they seemingly vanish into thin air, leaving no evidence, no footprints. They've had scent tracking dogs come up with nothing. They'll be seen by a friend. Like, so there's so many different stories, but some examples, they will be like on a school trip on a very well-known path, and they'll be with a friend 1 second, and the next second the friend will turn around and they're gone. And there's zero trace of them. There's no bad weather. There's nothing to lead to that. They're just gone. And
Any correlation in like times? Does it happen during like certain times of the day?
I didn't see anything on that, but it's people of all ages, genders, and experience. So there's really good hikers or kids that are kids and toddlers, like the most random ages.
Sketchy.
Some of these people are found, but if they're found in weird places. So as an example, a 6-year-old with a heart condition went missing. She was found 18 hours later, 12 miles away in rough terrain. So how'd that happen? Sometimes people are found with no shoes, but their feet are completely fine. Sometimes they're missing clothing when they should have died from hypothermia, but they're completely fine. Storms often come up right after someone goes missing, making the search for them really hard. This is where it gets like, it just makes you mad. The national parks has no database of people that have gone missing. None. They have no record of anyone who's gone missing in their national parks, and they do very little to find them. So they basically chalk it up to they weren't prepared, bad weather, animal attack, whatever. They might look for them for a small amount of time, and then they close the case. Now, this is where it really gets weird. Disappearances specifically around bodies of water, which at first I'm like, okay, maybe drowning, I don't know, and berry patches.
It has predators.
Bears?
I would say. Well, I don't know.
Bears.
What
No
bears
evidence, nothing left behind.
Because they eat them.
They do eat
No
the shit out.
footprints, no blood, not a single thing.
They'd find like boots and clothes and shit.
And not everyone in their group going missing. Like one person.
I mean,
Randomly
that's
gone.
So-
I would much. I mean, that's a lot more. Like I can understand one person than a whole group going missing. Now, if like 15 people went missing
That's fair.
in this area and nobody knows what the fuck happened, there's no trace, then I'm asking questions. But right now, somebody could got this. There could be a big ass bear out there that loves the taste of human that's just dragging people into a cave and.
That's fair. Okay, there's a couple other parts to it though.
Okay.
Are the people that are found, are they like disoriented?
Yes.
Or
They
are
don't- do they remember
Yes.
anything?
I don't know
No,
where I
that's the next
am,
part.
like-
Some people are found unconscious or near unconsciousness when they haven't been gone long enough for it to be like due to lack of food or water.
Weird.
So I don't know if they're necessarily like always disoriented, but
Like, what about like an
They-
alien abduction?
well, that's the thing. There is no really theory of like, well, probably aliens. Other than that, there's really no theory of like what's happening. It's more of like, is the government hiding something? Because the national park system, like, let's say someone goes missing and their family then is even trying to like get in on the search because they're not doing enough. They like put up roadblocks for the family. Like it's your typical kind
It
of
sounds
law
like
enforcement
some
not
sketchy.
yeah, there's something
like there's
sketchy.
some shady.
I
Like
I-
maybe they
enforcement
know of
shit going
something.
on.
Well, I have heard of something where like we do have a pact with, and this is all just hypothetical stuff, but we do have a pact with some sort of civilization that's not from Earth, and they're allowed a certain number of humans.
Lizard people or something.
Not lizard people. Well, I don't know. You know, if dinosaurs were the first things on Earth, what would be the first things to evolve? Lizards. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
if it's something, I don't know, lizard people. Damn lizard people. But yeah, that they have a pact to take a certain amount of people, and it's also in like one of the newest American Horror Stories that popped up.
Oh, that's
whole thing.
creepy.
It
I
was
don't like
weird.
that.
That is really weird.
But
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, what are your takes on that one?
I don't know.
you
I mean,
said
I think
aliens.
there's something weird.
I mean,
there's for sure
obviously there's
weird.
something fishy going on, and I would definitely like to see like a geographical map of where these locations are, so I can kind of see on a broad, or I guess a bigger spectrum on where everything's at. Just to have an idea of the terrain or what's going on. I mean, we could have some Hills Have Eyes people up there. We could have, I don't know if
serial killer?
Have you guys ever seen Wrong Turn? I mean, there's another
Yes.
one. That's a weird ass one too. That, I mean, I'm sure there's people like that up in the Appalachian Mountains. Is that Appalachia?
Appalachia.
Something like
Yeah.
that. But it's like some weird shit going
And
on
that
up
maybe
there.
could make sense why it's like clusters, like because they're in a more specific area. It's not just so scattered, but I don't know. And this one is hard for me too because even you guys saying with like the bears, and there might not always be that much evidence, or like it rains or it snows or whatever. It's like that is and that's a lot harder to find somebody.
Well, and even if there is evidence, even if a bear did drag somebody, think if this person got knocked out and this bear dragged somebody and it didn't lose a single boot. Think if the guy lost a boot as it's getting dragged, how hard it would be to find a black or brown boot in the woods.
Well, and it's
know what
such
I mean?
a vast area that it's like, how do they narrow down the search enough?
Well, it also depends. It would be like if we went on a hike and we're sitting there walking through this, and all of a sudden I disappeared for 2 days. You would be like,
That doesn't make sense.
this doesn't make sense. He
Right.
was right behind
And
me.
Harold
you
doesn't,
know?
we don't get like,
Well, we don't get
that's
lost. We don't, you know.
so that's where it would be freaky. And I obviously, like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Obviously, I'm not leaving that area because if we were having a conversation 30 seconds ago and I turn around and you're nowhere to be found, you're within a mile of me right now. I
Yep.
know you're within that mile. So unless it's something on the more mystical.
Yeah, there was one
Bermuda
example.
Yeah.
There was one example of these two guys that were like avid hikers, and I don't know where they were, but as they were walking, it started like a snowstorm picked up, and they ended up just like setting up camp right on the trail. So they just like put a tent up, laid down, and went to sleep. And the next morning, one of the guys woke up and his friend was just gone. And so obviously, like, he was asleep. Maybe the guy went to look for something, who knows, but they just never found him. Like, why would he just get up and leave without
You wouldn't in a
saying
storm.
anything?
A
Yeah.
word or
You
Yeah.
wouldn't. You
And
wouldn't
he
get
fell
up.
asleep right next to him. And then all of a sudden he was gone. So that's that one.
that one is scary though. Like with the people that just wake up.
See, that one to me is more scary than some of the other ones, I feel like, I don't know, because I feel like that could actually happen. Like, you could go hiking and
It's
just...
very easy to get lost.
Okay, should we go to the next one? This next one's kind of
Yeah.
a fun one. Harold, do you watch The Office?
I do watch The Office.
Okay, so this one is that Toby is the Scranton Strangler.
Love it.
Heard this.
I love it.
So there's quite a bit of evidence that points to Toby being the Scranton Strangler. So first off, the Scranton Strangler isn't mentioned until season 6, around the time that Jim and Pam start dating. Toby always had a crush on Pam, so this could potentially be the thing that pushes him to kill. When Jim and Pam have their baby Cece, Andy gives them a newspaper of that day. The headline is "The Scranton Strangler Strikes Again," insinuating
Whoa.
that Toby was mad enough that he killed again.
It wasn't originally the Scranton Strangler. Remember, he made a newspaper
No.
for the day before,
Yeah, and it was like spring
and
is
it was
here, and
it was a
all
beautiful
good.
newspaper. And then the baby didn't come till the following day, and
Yeah.
it was just Anyway,
Yes.
sorry.
Next one. Toby's car is the same as the car involved in the high-speed chase in season 7, where they are chasing down the Scranton Strangler. That car drives down the street that Dunder Mifflin is on during the case. Could be a coincidence. We don't know.
Yeah, because they all see him speed by, right?
Well, yeah, just wait. So
Was Toby not there?
no. So Toby is absent during the car chase. Everyone is in the office watching at Toby's computer at his desk, but he's not there. The phone rings. Kelly picks it up, immediately hangs up because it's Kelly. Most calls, so this is the theory of it, is that most calls go through Pam at reception. So the theory is that it was actually Toby calling his own line to confess to his coworkers. That's maybe a little out there. I don't know. This one, a man named George Howard Scubb is arrested and sentenced to death for being the Scranton Strangler. But Toby becomes obsessed with the belief that George is innocent. Toby feels guilt because he was on the jury that convicted George, but he could also feel guilty because he knows George isn't the real Strangler. Toby even starts his own series of fictional crime novels. Toby continues to investigate George's possible innocence in season 9. He visits him in prison, and George attempts to strangle Toby. So that could admit that he is the Strangler, but theories say that Toby confessed to George, and that's why he strangled him. Lastly, he refuses to enter a church for Cece's christening, stating he has a history with the big man. That's all I found.
That's a little
on it.
strange. That last one.
I did know that was a theory, but I didn't know there was that much evidence stacking up against Mr.
You know, I actually
Flenderson.
thought I would find a
Flenderson,
little
yeah.
bit more than that.
You did?
Just because all of those were pretty
I mean, the fact
easy
that he
things that you
wasn't.
pick up on during the show. I thought there would maybe even be ones
I didn't
that
pick
are
up
like
on
a
the
little
car
too-
chase. I didn't
That's
pick up
fair,
that
that's fair.
Toby wasn't there.
I didn't pick up on that either.
Yeah, well, and they don't mention it like
The killings do stop when he goes to Puerto Rico.
Costa
And he
Rica.
gets and then he gets hurt for
One of the Ricas.
He breaks his neck or whatever, and he's in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital for I don't know how long.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what if it wasn't what did he say? A paragliding accident or
He was trying to
parasailing?
kill somebody,
Oh,
and he
that's a
got
good
fucked up by
point.
somebody.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that he just gets so obsessed with the case itself. And so obsessed with George being innocent.
I still hate Toby.
People get invested in stuff. Like, have you ever watched that Netflix documentary about like we love cats or whatever it is?
No,
Oh yeah, that
I'm
was
afraid to
popular. I
watch
never
that.
watched
Well,
it.
it was honestly amazing, and it was just people investigating on the internet and found this dude.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Was that the guy? No, there was that one dude that we went to high school with that was torturing all those cats up in Sturgis.
Oh,
Oh.
I don't
that's
remember
awful.
what the hell his name was.
I don't
I'll say it was Jalen.
I do believe it was. I wasn't too sure if we could say it or not.
I'm not sure
so
if
I
we
wasn't
should be saying
yeah.
who it is.
Yeah,
It's public fucking news.
But what if we're wrong and we just said someone else's name?
it's not.
It's my middle name, so
Well, you didn't do it.
how do you know?
Okay. So, also, I was going to say with the Toby one, there's also talks that it could have been Creed or it could have been Gabe, which I've never heard that theory that it could have been Gabe.
There's no way it's Gabe.
Or it could have been Mose.
Gabe is not
And I didn't look up any of the
aggressive.
theories of
Gabe's
why
not.
it could be Gabe.
Gabe's not the aggressive type. Toby, I could see being.
Toby can snap.
Yeah.
I feel like he
Yeah.
was on the verge of snapping.
And he's been just kind of beat down the entire
I'm sure he didn't try to
series.
kill Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Honestly.
he probably just has some rage. He also goes through like a divorce during the show. Like he's got a lot of outside
Do we know
stuff.
the Scranton Strangler's MO? Is it only women? Is it dudes?
We
Is
don't-
it-
I don't know that.
We don't know that.
No.
Because if it
That's
was
a good
only women,
point.
I would say Toby.
That
I would say-
I bet yeah, that's something that we need to look into.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one of my favorite Toby moments is when it was Christmas time and he was buying those dolls from Dwight, and he buys it and it's a black doll, and he like looks at it and he's like, oh
No, not
he
just
buys
that.
it from Daryl.
He buys it from Daryl
Daryl.
because they're all sold out. So he begs Daryl. He pays like $400 for it.
Yep.
And he's like, "Thank you so much." Turns it over. It's Black Doll. He's like, "Oh." And then Daryl's like,
What? Is there something wrong?
Okay, sorry. We were
What
all
an
talking.
interesting conspiracy, though.
Yeah, I like it.
I know.
I like it a lot.
So I have a couple. Okay, I have like 3 more, but these ones are not long. So this one, I'm going to be honest to whoever wrote this in. I didn't do a lot of research on this because it was wordy. It was over my head, and it has to do with history, which I'm not good at. But this is Operation Paperclip. You know?
I know a lot about
Heck
Avril
yes,
Lavigne paper.
that's what I was hoping. So
Yes.
basically, the theory is that top secret U.S. intelligence program brought Nazi German scientists to America to harness their brain power for Cold War initiatives. Is that what you remembered it being?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you? I know nothing. That's all I wrote. That's all I wrote on it.
So basically, after World War II, what happened was we had us and the Soviet Union, and we were in alliance, and they were like getting all mad at us because they were like, hey, we also want things from this war. And so when it came down to splitting up,
It was nuclear.
it was nuclear. It was a nuclear race
nuclear
at first,
weapons,
but it was
yeah.
also the space race.
Yep.
And we went in and we took 1,500 or so Nazi scientists, and we split the other 15 with the Soviet Russia, and we're like, here, you get these dudes. And we took them back to the United States, like Warner von Braun, and they went off and they started making programs like NASA and some of the CIA specs and stuff like that. So, yeah, NASA's founded by Nazi scientists.
So this next one is, I'm gonna be honest. This one I do not believe at all. But you might if you watch Ancient Aliens. Aliens built the pyramids.
I think a bunch of Jews did that. I ain't gonna lie. I think if you have 100 million slaves, you can get some shit done.
That's yeah.
Like,
So-
I don't know if I think aliens. I don't know, but because the amount of weight and I mean, to get those big blocks up to where they needed to go. I mean, they could have had a multitude of like pulley systems to make that a lot
That's
easier.
what they say.
So that makes a lot of sense to me. Now, if you really do research on the pyramids and you're looking into these courts like hallways, and somehow they were harnessing like hydrogen and turning it into electricity with sunlight, like spectrums of the sunlight.
They were
So
like
that-
generators.
They had like so supposedly they had like hydrogen, like they could harness hydrogen and create electricity out of it with quartz somehow. I was talking with Scott about this at work, and I did a little bit more research on myself about it, and it's pretty crazy. So it's
and looking
plausible.
these up, I didn't even
Yeah.
know to look for that. So I didn't read about that at all. I didn't even know that was part of it. So that makes it feel more. I think the article that I read was someone who fully didn't believe it, and so their whole article was basically
was like anti.
yeah. So what they said is the theory that aliens built it, the reasoning of that is just like the sheer scale and lack of technology. The pyramids are 400 feet tall, and some of the blocks weigh 80 tons, which is equivalent to 40 small elephants. And then people say, well, the pulley system, that's how we did
And
it.
if you have 1 million slaves,
Yeah, I totally believe humans can do that. They also thought that pyramids could be used like the hands of a clock, so aliens could measure the passage of time when observing Earth from the outside, which I think is a little far-fetched. I don't.
So
if
they know what time it
there's
is
that
on
much-
Earth?
Well, if there's that much
I've heard of
technology,
Stargates.
and for fuck's sake, if you're goddamn space traveling, you
Why do you
can
need to know
find a way
time?
to tell
well, that's what I was
time.
gonna say. I feel like if there's that much technology, they don't need to.
Wouldn't time be
Look
different
at the
also?
clock.
Because time's only
Yes.
based off our sun.
We
so there would
created
be
time.
different
Also,
clocks.
There's probably
for-
not even a fucking
It
time.
wouldn't tell you anything. It wouldn't tell you how many years or anything.
It wouldn't tell you shit.
Wouldn't tell you anything.
That's
just
a
from
te-
the
that's a-
point of
that's a
when
terrible
you
theory.
start it.
Yeah, so I don't believe that one. And then their theory of obviously like debunking it is the Egyptians used pulleys. And this was like an interesting take on this, which I had never heard of before, but I don't know. They said that we don't give ancient civilizations like enough credit for the things they built. And some people think that this theory is actually kind of like racially motivated because no one is really questioning the things that were built by like Europeans, but they are questioning the things by like the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incas, which is kind of interesting because they can be totally, I don't know enough about history, but
Well, the
I'm
thing
sure the
is-
buildings are totally different, but no one's questioning some of the old like Colosseum kind of things.
Yeah, but it's. I agree with that. I really do. Because when you're talking about civilization, how many civilizations have come and gone that have been very technically advanced? The Romans, for example. I mean, they had, if I'm not mistaken, they had running like toilets, not toilets, but like a running sewage system.
Aqueducts.
They had fresh water. They had. I mean, there were so many things that they were, like the infrastructure of the city. It was so advanced, but let's be real. most civilizations over the past 3,000 years have crumbled.
Well, yes, but I also think like we maybe as a generation, or not really a generation, but like a civilization right now, we think like, oh, well, that'd be hard for us. So like no way could they have figured it out. Whereas like they did crumble and then like rebuild. So who knows? They could have some technology that we never had.
Well, that's the thing.
That
What
we
happens?
haven't gotten to
Well,
yet.
we can put that in like today's technology. If you have an iPod Juke, do you have a charger for it?
An iPod Juke?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Exactly. It's one of like the little baby iPods
the shuffle.
from like
The
a shuffle. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Like an iPod shuffle.
No, I don't have a fucking charger for that.
You have the shuffle though. Like I have a shuffle. Where am I going to find a charger for this? No one makes them.
You probably find it on
That's
Amazon.
No, that's a very good
Just
point
lost.
though. It's probably going to
But-
be expensive
so
on eBay.
Kind of what I was thinking of is like, think of if a plague came and wiped out 95% of Earth. Well, there goes all our fucking scientists. What if it was all like, I'm telling you right now, if I survived, I'm not fucking creating space travel.
Right.
We're really fucked.
No,
Right,
that's
and then
I
they
can garden
rebuild.
some
I'm not
shit.
saying you couldn't.
No, I'm gardening some shit. I'm gonna try and
Right.
let's get a little concrete
We got
establishment
tomatoes,
here.
and you guys know anything about nuclear power plants? This one's about to go off because no one's maintaining it.
Civilization's going to basically restart. If there was a plague or something like that, it would restart because all those smart people that we had doing all the smart things, guess what? They're not there anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Do you think aliens had some sort of influence towards the pyramids? Not necessarily building them, but why they resurrected them?
No.
Possibly the stars. Like they could have been more in tune with. I don't know. They could have been more in tune with
that's just-
space in general.
I
Maybe.
I just think it was an idea. I mean, it was an idea. It was a way to build something, especially with science.
How come all ancient civilizations all built it like true north? Like, why did the Mayans copy the Egyptians? Why did the Egyptians copy,
I guess
That's a good point.
Why is it
that
so
is a good
space
point.
correlated?
It could be a coincidence. One, you always know east and west, so it could be just another marker. Like that's north, so I know that way south.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
like a
So
stop
I
sign
know
for 'em,
sun sets in the west, it rises in the east, so I know which way is east and west. So I put my pyramid north. I know automatically that's south.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's just my thought on it.
I like that.
And I will say, although I'm not sold on aliens building the pyramids, I do believe that aliens exist.
Yeah.
Are we gonna?
I would say
Was you
so.
gonna say anything?
I mean,
I'm not going to knock aliens in any single way, shape, or form.
You think we're the
I don't
smartest
think-
thing in this?
Well, that's what
in
I'm
the-
saying. I think it's very maybe it's kind of egotistical to assume that we're the only smart like
We're
civilization
definitely
ever.
not. We've been being.
No.
I'm sure we've been. We're probably someone's test subject
I think
Yeah.
it would be scarier if we were.
if we were
I think
like
so,
the
too.
only.
If you believed like we were the only civilization that was out there that will ever exist, I think that would be scarier than not thinking that there's other life out there.
Yeah.
So-
Possibly other life that has it figured out a lot better than we have too. Like that's what's scary to me is, okay, so if we're ahead of everybody and then we just destroy ourselves basically.
That's essentially what we're doing.
I know that's what I mean, but the idea of like, well, what if there are aliens who they have figured out a way to like, I don't know. I'm just rambling, but like figured out a more peaceful like way of living on a different planet. I don't know.
Then they would never visit here.
So
No, that's true.
So, I mean, humans are essentially. It's not like it's not a virus. It's not a disease. It's because certain things have to have a host to survive, and I feel that we're not that. Like we don't like mycelium. It needs certain kinds of fungi need like a host to actually like survive. So like we're just like destroying our host essentially. You
So
know
you're
what I
saying,
mean?
like,
So
the
we're like
Like Earth.
we're
Yeah.
almost like a parasite or
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like when you
Like
think
the
of
Earth doesn't need us, but we need it,
exactly,
and we're destroying
and we're
it.
feeding off of Earth when over time we've evolved and essentially taken over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we're
do
like
I-
a little cancer cell kind of,
I mean,
Yes.
on this
totally.
giant whatever we are.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like termites to a tree.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's exactly what it is.
Pick up your litter, y'all. All right.
This is your message to pick up your piece of trash for today.
Okay, we have one more, and I didn't write any notes on this one because I figured we could just talk about it. It's a very broad theory. First off, that aliens are real, which we already kind of talked about, and that paranormal things are real,
Like
like
ghosts.
ghosts and stuff like that. And what's your like take on that?
I think energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So like if I'm looking at myself as a spiritual being and this is just a vessel, I guess, where does that go? You know? I don't think we necessarily die in a sense, but I don't think we
Just dissipate.
dissipate.
Like
know,
you just
like
our spirit
like
doesn't
my
just.
consciousness isn't just gone.
I agree with that. I have a hard time when it comes to like evil paranormal things because I don't want to get like too spiritual or like religious, but I think energy isn't inherently good or bad. I feel like the human body, like the ego, is what's like good or bad. So I feel like if you die and your energy goes out, like in theory, I feel like that's just like peace. You're just part of, like, you're a tree, you're whatever. I don't really know. So I have a hard time like with the thought of a ghost that like looks like their human form and is like terrorizing humans. Like, what's the point in that?
I think it's their misery that they're facing.
But would you be miserable if your ego was dead and just your energy
What if
was
you
alive?
didn't understand?
Well, that's the thing.
Maybe.
So
Yeah,
you're angry. I mean, I think that if you're a ghost, there's a reason. If this is my theory, if ghosts are real and they're actually present, that if they're here still, like in like human form, essentially, or not human form, but they look like human form. I would think that they're here for a reason. Like
Yeah.
you don't just pass as like an amazing person your whole life and then you're just stuck.
No.
You know what I mean?
But I
Like
guess-
Purgatory.
yeah, you're at that point. I feel like you're able to move on. You're able to go to that next period of whatever that may be. But I feel like if you're a shitty human your whole life or a shitty being your whole life, I feel like that's going to have consequences.
Yeah.
And whether it's you have to now sit in this same room for 1,000 years, have
That's
fun.
fair.
Well, why are you gonna fight? Why are you taking it out on me, dude? I'm just eating popcorn.
Yeah.
And you're sitting popping up and going boo every 30 minutes.
Well,
you know?
but that's unfortunate because you bought that house with a ghost in a room that has 1,000-year sentence.
the regulator didn't disclose that.
Beetlejuice, baby.
I guess maybe I hope I like the idea that when you pass away, your anger or like those kind of feelings don't go with you. Like you would have
like
the
your
peace of
emotions?
like you get rid of those human emotions and like peace, hopefully. But I do believe in like something. I do believe like the energy and everything. I just don't know how far I believe with like demons and stuff like that.
Well,
I'm not really sure.
There's good and evil. There's definitely good and
I
evil.
would say there's good entities and bad entities when it comes to something like that. I'm not going to call it a ghost or an
No, let's look
apparition.
at
It's
serial
like
killers, for example.
Yeah.
That's not good energy.
It's not, but we also don't know where that came from. Did
Doesn't
that
matter.
come from? No, did that come from childhood trauma?
I feel like
That's
and
nature
mental
versus
health?
nurture.
Exactly.
Which,
So we
that's
don't know
debatable.
if their soul is inherently bad or if they had something in their upbringing, they hit their head or something that made them a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
You've never met a little kid and been like, you got to watch this one.
yeah, that's
I've
fair.
definitely met
That's fair.
one or two of them.
Yeah.
That like you're like kind of like always watching them at the corner of your eye, like
Someone's going to do something.
a 6-year-old's gonna steal my car.
Our neighbor. Our neighbor.
That's
literally hopped. My dad pulled up one day in his like little sports car, and
convertible.
he is walking up to the house, turns around. There's kids already in the car. And they're like, "Can we get in?" He's like, "Well, you're already in." So yeah.
I would have.
This doesn't look good on his part either. Like, if I was, why are my kids in your car?
Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of
That's hilarious.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
neighborhood little hoodlums.
Hoodlums, little latchkey kids. So that's all I have for you guys. Do you have
Har-
any other like
Yeah,
conspiracy
you got
theories?
anything, Harold?
I don't know. There's like,
There's so many.
I know so many. So it goes down from like mythical creatures to government to,
Ooh,
big
wait.
pharma.
Okay, yeah. Those. So mythical creatures, though. Do you believe in like vampires and stuff like that?
Yeah, they live in space and we just can't see them because telescopes have mirrors in them. So that's why you can't. No, I'm messing with you.
Oh my God. I was like, wow, wait, we need a whole nother hour to talk about this.
Would a vampire be a mythical creature, or would it be like an old?
That's a myth. That's a mythical.
Lore?
That's a mythical.
That is,
that mythical?
you're right. That is more
That's
like
like an
an
old tale.
old time.
It's like an old time tale.
That's an old
Because
time
Dracula
lore.
was a real person, wasn't he?
Yes,
he was.
He lived in Transylvania, in his fucking little fucking
you
castle.
sure?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, we're pretty
100%.
sure.
Wow, I didn't know
Look
that
it
was
up. You
real.
got a computer in front of you?
My computer's like on its last leg right
don't
now. I'm
even know where my
surprised we're
phone is,
even
to be
still
honest
able
with you.
to record.
That one, the Loch Ness monster.
I mean, I
that's
definitely
fair.
believe some weird shit lives
The
in some
Bermuda
water.
Triangle is a good one.
Oh gosh, there's so
The
many. We
Bermuda
could
Triangle would've
easily
been
do like a part 2 on this.
I do think. I
Maybe
don't know about the
someday
Loch
we
Ness
will.
monster. I don't know if there's like some Slytherin thing, but I do believe that there's some big ass shit that eats people in
Oh yeah,
lakes
I
and
feel like
everywhere.
What do you think is more scary, the ocean in its like deepest depths,
ocean.
or space?
Ocean.
Or space?
I'd rather float around an ocean than the fucking ocean.
I don't know.
In the space
In
than the
space,
ocean.
but the space is super vast too. But the ocean, like, there's some scary stuff that we don't know on either side of that.
If I came into contact with some, are you talking about like? What are you talking about in space?
Like, am I
you got to,
exploring
all of a
space and am I
sudden
exploring
an
sea?
alien comes up,
No, it could
or
be-
like a giant space jellyfish
I guess
just pops up?
I'm saying the
Halo
unknown,
shit.
the unknown of both. What is scarier to you? The unknown of what's at the bottom of the deepest part of the ocean that we don't know, or far, far in space that we also haven't discovered.
We
Like,
know
the
more about
unknown.
fucking space than
than
we
we
do
do
our
our
own
own
ocean.
ocean.
I know. I'm just
That is
asking.
terrifying. That is terrifying.
Oh, I agree.
That we know more about outside of our planet than our own fucking planet.
Yeah, I
that
agree
sounds
with that.
dumb as fuck.
I think I am more scared walking around every day than I would be when I'm swimming in the ocean. I will say, because
Really?
I don't know if
What about just in the middle of the fucking ocean where it's like that dark, deep
Well,
blue?
to get myself in that situation, I really fucked up.
You're drunk and you
Yeah.
fell off
Like,
a
I
cruise
fell off a
ship.
cruise liner
Yeah.
and I'm
See,
bubbling.
that would be my biggest fear ever, because they can't find
That
you. They can't turn
actually
around.
happened
Unless
to
somebody-
my dad once.
and
They
let-
went scuba diving and they dropped their boat and they forgot to drop the boat anchor and they came back up and their boat was gone. Yeah,
I'm suing.
be super scared.
Oh my god.
But think if you fell off of it, because I'm not like I'm not scared of water. I'm not scared of the ocean. I'll swim in the ocean. But when I was on that cruise ship and we're in the middle of the fucking ocean and you look out your balcony and it's just that dark, deep blue that freaks me the
But at
freaks me
least
the
you
fuck
have a
out.
chance of getting rescued. Let's say you're just floating in space. You unlock from your little astronaut thing and you just get knocked off.
I still think they could
and
save you,
can
right?
I say something too? I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about how space, I don't know a lot about space, so I could be way wrong, but how it's like depicted in movies is so not accurate, and that if you were like let go in space, you would basically just like implode in a second.
Are
pressure.
you talking about like if your suit came off?
I'm assuming so, right?
Or
Because
something, yeah, 'cause
I
Those,
think
those suits are
pressurized.
huge. Those suits are huge. And they have to like step into these suits.
okay, so
It's
then
like
yes,
going
so
into
if
the
you
ocean.
didn't,
It's not like putting on snow pants. It's like you're stepping into a fucking
right.
suit.
So if you didn't have a suit, it wouldn't be like a slow, painful death.
No,
it
it
would
just
be
boom.
I think
instantaneous.
you just
Yeah.
Yeah.
the vacuum.
Yep. The pressure, I don't know how it really works, but it's completely different.
I was gonna say with the cruise ship, remember when they said like if someone falls overboard or something, don't run and like go get help. Like keep your eye on them.
Oh, they'll disappear.
Like
Yeah.
that's what scares me is the thought of like, oh, in theory, oh, you should be able to be rescued. You like just fell off this boat, but like what if they can't find you? Like that's terrifying.
Didn't somebody die on our cruise?
Yes.
And they put him in the
What?
freezer?
No.
No, what?
No,
So you're
you just made that part up.
How do you think they got him to the dock? They didn't just die magically as we're docking. That motherfucker died. They put him in the freezer
He
until
died
we got.
that day at the excursion, and they got off on that port.
excursions anywhere you
Oh,
go
yeah,
are
please.
dangerous, people. Okay, don't let them lie to you. That's a conspiracy theory in itself.
That's not conspiracy. That's facts.
It's facts.
Those are facts right there.
Oh.
Paragliding, never gonna fucking do
Well,
that.
yeah, you have to know that stuff is not regulated at all. We one time did an excursion in Mexico where we're on like a little catamaran, like snorkeling and stuff. And then part of it was you could, I don't think it's paragliding, but like they had a little seat that you could just sit on and they would just fly you off the boat. I don't really know how it worked. Okay, this is going from a
Like the
memories.
thing at the
really great.
beginning of Jurassic Park 3.
like
Where
paragliding.
they're on like the.
Or no, not
it's like
paragliding. Paragliding is like when you're running off a cliff.
But
isn't it?
they're like pulling you behind a boat.
Oh, but it
Yes.
wasn't like that because you weren't that high up. Like you were. I'm trying to think of how. I don't even know how to explain this.
Parasailing.
Maybe it was parasailing, but you weren't like that far above the water. Like we were on the boat. We could see the person who decided to go, but you were not latched in at all. It was literally a towel wrapped around a rope that you sat on and hung on while they just flung you around. And some of the people would get so high and just get whipped around. Just stuff like that. I'm like, that is.
I mean, that's just common
terrifying.
sense. If I'm like watching this as a spectator, I'm sure as hell not getting on that.
No, I didn't get
Not
on
fucking
it.
doing that.
Yeah.
No,
Not paying to get fucking
my brother
whiplash.
got on it. I'm pretty sure, but I did not.
Man, I just remember how sunburned I got.
Oh, me too.
Any other conspiracies?
There's
Is there any
but
local?
that-
Is
but
there any
that's what I was
local
saying. It's
local conspiracies?
I believe in the Rapid Creek Killer.
Whoa, wait, what's that?
So there's like a whole bunch of like weird deaths throughout like every summer in Rapid Creek. I don't know if you guys have been noticing this throughout the years.
Well, there's always deaths, and they always blame it on them being intoxicated and drowning.
Yeah, it's a coincidence, ain't it?
There's a
Kinda- it's
lot
little
of
strange.
drownings.
But there is, and I think there's like a Rapid Creek Killer, and they're covering it up. I don't know.
or
I
they
shouldn't
just don't
say
want it,
that,
or they
but
just
that
want to
would be local.
investigate it. God, now you're gonna get us fucking pinned.
I don't mean to. That's what the hats are for, dog. You took yours off. They can hear you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Fuck. They can read my
Harold
thoughts,
brought it
man.
up. Not
And
us.
I'm just saying that I'm just making bullshit. There's not, in full disclosure, I know nothing. I do say next time that we do this, guys, if there is a part 2, thank you for having me because this was amazing. I had a great time.
Good.
I say we do some research about our own and come in
Like
fully
local,
loaded.
like local.
Not local,
Or like
just
our
like we'll
own-
pick some and be like, hey, this is weird and really.
Okay,
So
I love
conspiracies
that theory
part 2?
because I tried to tell DJ, what's your conspiracy theory? And what were you going to talk about? I forgot.
I
Did we talk
started
about
spitting shit out at that time.
Yes, but he had no evidence and he was not willing to do any of the book work for it, which takes us right back
Gotta
to
do
high
the book
school.
work.
I
Yeah.
know.
He's like,
You hit
no.
those
I'm
rabbit
not a.
holes.
Okay,
I'm
we
just
all
gonna
know
make it up
school's not
as
my
I go.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, I did feel like I was preparing for a book report or something though. That was a lot of research on these, and I still feel like I didn't get a lot of stuff. That's the thing is you could deep dive into these so hard, like Reddit holes. I mean,
We could have talked about
So
aliens
many
for an hour.
that's what I think
Oh,
is like
yeah.
maybe you're right. Next time we just pick like one, like and just full.
I think the
go
Bermuda-
into
We're
it.
going with
Bermuda
abductions.
Triangle.
We're going with skinwalkers. We're going with.
Yes, but Bermuda Triangle, that's a good one. I kind of forgot about that one.
I think I don't know who it was, and I'm not going to get fact checked by this, but I think they found, who's that lady that took the plane across the Atlantic?
Amelia
recently?
Earhart.
Yeah, I think they found
Yes.
Amelia Earhart.
I saw that, but I didn't read up on it.
Wait,
into it.
back in like the 1800s?
Like,
Well-
just found her.
Well, 19. I don't think we had planes in the 1800s.
You're right. It was like the something brothers, the Wright brothers,
Wright
in
brothers.
the early 1900s. It might have been. It might have been late
It
18.
might be in late 18, early
This
19.
is not my conversation.
I'm pretty. I think you're right. I think it was like early 1900s, like 1910, 1909, right around there.
USA.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Wright sounds American.
It
Oh,
does.
wait,
Yeah,
wait.
it's
You know
like-
what's another good one? The Malaysia flight.
Oh, the one that
There's that whole
disappeared.
When it
documentary
just
on.
disappeared. I
Yeah.
heard they went into like some wormhole,
Yeah, see
like
that
some
one.
land before
Was that the
time.
one where they thought the pilot was responsible for it because he went up and then went down towards like Madagascar and then turned back around
Well,
and
they
then
did something
There's
weird.
a
They thought
lot
they
of-
got hijacked at
Yep.
first,
Yeah.
but then the plane just disappeared. There's no black box. There's nothing. There's
Well, and wasn't that the one too where maybe I'm wrong, but I was pretty sure that pilot, that was like one of his supposed to be his last flight ever.
and he was
Like,
retiring. Yeah,
retiring.
with his wife because
And
his
then
wife was a
it
stewardess,
disappeared.
wasn't she? I'm pretty sure his wife
I
was a
don't remember,
stewardess.
but maybe you might be right.
Because that documentary was really really good.
That's like that show. What's that show? That
lost.
No,
similar.
Not Lost. Manifest.
Manifest, yes, that was weird. They disappeared and then all of a sudden they came back like fucking 30 years later.
No,
but they
no.
all were not aged
No,
the same.
it was like 5 or 10 years later.
I thought it was more.
No, because remember she was like engaged to that guy, and then she gets lost in a plane. He comes back. She comes back. He's like getting married to someone else.
But the
So was it,
brother
like-
and sister, the brother was like tiny and he was like older, and then the sister's like 20 something now.
No, it was like 5 to 10 years. It wasn't 30.
Either way, it's a good show.
It's a good show.
Manifest.
Manifest.
Get it down. I don't know what it's on.
Actually, we kind of got bored of that show, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, we did. It was pretty repetitive.
Yeah, but anyway, should we wrap it up? We're at 57 minutes.
Yes,
I feel like that was a pretty good episode. So, Harold, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, guys.
That was fun.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like that's a good podcast for doing high, too.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I love
Oh,
it.
Conspiracy
yeah.
theories.
We'll really get into it next time. We'll get
Yeah. You
tin-
gotta dip
tinfoil-y.
your toes into it, Harold.
Yeah, you got to just dip your toes in. I wanted to feel everybody out, see what, like, what's your spectrum? Are you Illuminati to lizard people, or are
special
you
spectrum.
unicorns to dragons? I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, Illuminati's one I'd like to dig deeper into.
That one gets
That
kind
gets
of
dirty.
That one gets dirty and scary.
And very muddy.
Yeah, okay, maybe I don't want
They're into some weird stuff.
They are.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to be part of the Illuminati at one point.
Did you?
I was ready to sell it.
I don't think anyone was asking
I don't
to
think.
buy
Yeah,
it.
I don't. Yeah. Here's the 50 cents, sir.
Here's 50 cents. Right?
Got about 350.
Yeah, here's your broke ass Forerunner.
All right. Okay.
That
Well,
thing-
that's it.
It's still running,
Still
huh?
champ, dude. Thing's going.
I forgot you bought that.
Yeah.
And then he gave it to his parents.
I gave it to my parents, and that
Nice.
thing still gets around. It's just going.
Forerunners.
That thing had
where it's
300
at.
thou when I sold it to you. Like 325, I think it had.
Yeah.
All right, we can keep talking about it. I'm going to shut the podcast
Oh,
off.
you're good.
Oh, yeah, do
You're
it
good.
up.
Okay, bye.